And there's multiple factors as to why that's happening. And it could be because it's on Wednesdays, and we're not in the town that handles that very well, which is fair. I get that, right?
Yeah.
But we're seeing numbers dwindle everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's just that, but I think it plays a big part in it. We're doing Wednesdays,
Yeah.
but every time I bring it up to people, they look at me like I'm crazy. But I try to explain to them, like, every major weekly is ran on a weekday.
Yeah.
This works best for us and the venue that helps provide us a location to do this, you know. We live in a working town, so most of the time if you work in retail, hey, stop that. Hey, if you work in retail in this town, in most of these Tri-County areas, you can't get off on a weekend to save your life. It's almost impossible unless you give a lot of notice ahead of time. So I find that more often than not, people's days off will fall during the week, or trying to get a weekday off is a lot easier than not. But again, this town may not be right for that necessarily. But that's not the only issue. The other issue is that we haven't shown what we have to offer and why they should choose our service over somebody else's. And I made a big flub on that by taking the one thing we had of separation, multiple things we had of separation, and pushing my advice out, and pushing my my wisdom or my whatever out to help continue to foster the community. And in doing so, I kind of made myself part of the greater good, but at the same time put us in shadow, which is what it is, you know. I made those decisions knowing full well what was going to happen. But it wasn't about me, it was about building the entire community, and I was hoping the community itself, not our affiliates, but the community would kick back and go, damn, you know, these guys do this, these guys do that, but at the same time, we didn't outwardly show them what we do or why we're doing it. And that's what we need to do. And whether or not, I mean, we're done. We're on the downslide now. There's no getting around it. We are on the downslide. Even the online tournaments, which are successful, are eventually going to start to taper, because the game itself can only sustain for so long. Right. The fact that we are even doing decent online tournaments, because most people shy away from Wi-Fi anyways, all of our local players, who we're some of the better players, won't play on our online stuff because we just don't want to do Wi-Fi. I don't even play my own tournaments, but there's also other reasons why I don't do it, and that's because you know, running it and all that other stuff. But it's like that, it cannot sustain itself forever. You know, it just can't. As much as I wanted to, it can't. The game will not sustain itself forever, and it's what game can we push on to next, and how can we handle doing it next, right? And then it's reaching out to the community and ensuring and letting them know that, hey, when we offer to do something like this, we're going to be capable of doing it because we've been capable of doing these other things. And here's what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. Things that we haven't necessarily shown. The whole build it and they will come mentality does not work. It works when you are in a drought. It works when you are in, it works when you bring water to a drought, you know. You build a fountain, people are going to come, and they might even pay to drink out of it, you know. For us, we're in a saturated market, not even just in our local area. We're in a saturated market everywhere, and not just for the game that we're referring to, which happens to be Smash for Wii U. The whole reason why that game is we're even doing that game is, one, I'm a competitor and I enjoy the game, you know. There's something about me, and I'm talking about me a lot here, and I understand that, but there's something about me that I love hosting tournaments, and it's not because I like looking at brackets and calling out names and not finding people. I hate that. I mean, it's awful. It's miserable, right? But it's seeing the reactions of people, the camaraderie, seeing people learn new things, seeing a really strange person playing with a person that they would never sit next to on a normal day, and seeing those things happen, and then seeing the upsets and the different incredible moments. That's what I enjoy. That's the level of competition that I enjoy. So that's partially why we run this game as much as we do, and also it's a good foothold back in. But there's really, without extraneous tools or resources necessary. There really aren't many other games that we can run, and even if we do, there aren't many avenues for that. And the ones that we get, let's say we start running COD tournaments, we start running Halo tournaments, we start running, sports tournaments, things that aren't in the FGC. Because the fighting game can be so simple, more simple to run because you got one system, one screen. It's low on resources. It's fairly simple, and you get a good sense of knowing the person that you're dealing with. And if you have 20 people, that's 20 people competing. So you divide that into two because that's how many matches you're going to get, that kind of thing in one round, right? Whereas if you have teams of 4, you have 20 people, you only got 5, and then it's just there's a hole and there's just nothing, And when we get those people, then it's fostering their want to get better in a gaming environment or a gaming market in the real world outside of our stuff, which has no fostering stuff right now. Halo MCC really kind of buried Halo's competitive scene. It's been gone for a good little while now. COD doesn't really have that big of a competitive scene outside of game battles, and there's a couple other leagues that actually run it, but it's nothing grand scale. So we're talking about levels of finding enough people to play in a game and having the equipment, taking those people, playing enough with them, having them want to get better, to get them to consistently come out so that they can eventually go and play in bigger things. And that right there is the whole reason we do this. And we're trying to find games that help foster that, and we're trying to foster that environment. That's the whole reason we do this. The whole reason I do this is, again, the branding without the explanation is one of my biggest follies, which is C2C. A lot of people know of it at this point, but they don't know exactly what it means, and it's casual to competitive. And what that means is that I want you to be able to walk into the building, sit down, play, get better, walk out. And whether that's through my coaching or teaching, which I would like to be able to jump into, whether that's just learning and being around people are helping you, whatever's going on, that's what C2C is hopefully bringing people into the environment, them getting better, and then helping them get to these major tournaments and compete in these major events that they want to, that they necessarily may not be able to do so. Things that I never got to have, growing up or trying to compete or breaking out in the market, being where I am. And that's what we're trying to do. And, the why is so much different. The why comes from my past and my growing up, and it's not, to say that it's not because we want to make something of ourselves and kind of do things differently. Of course we'd like to be successful in something that we do, and it's a little different, but there's deep levels of emotions why I like to host things and compete and be part of this scene, because gaming itself changed my life, as you'll hear a lot of people say, because it does. It changed my life, and I want to bring that to other people as well. I guess I'll just get into it a little bit. I didn't really have family growing up. I wasn't born into a family with big brothers and big sisters and young brothers. So there's no competition in my life, and I didn't start feeling that sense of family until I started getting into competitive gaming. Is when I started feeling that sense of family. Even if we're all, gripping at the teeth or whatever, we became family because we're all competing, trying to get better, and impress things, and so on and so forth. So, and how we plan to do that, and how we're continuing to do that, and this is basically your little mini mission statement here, is we went out, we purchase high quality equipment because we want to be able to give the best experience possible. We are consistently researching how to bring better stream quality, how to bring better video quality, how to being up on the latest trends for tournaments and the metas and changing things, and we're always on top of making it as professional and as high level as technically possible. The things that we're missing are things that are a lot out of our control, like the professional pop prizes and the professional, stage environment, the things that we want to create but we are having trouble doing because of finances and the location and other things that we're doing. But right now, we're at this weird impasse where, it's a really sad thing, and I'm putting this to film. It's that we duck out right now, no one's going to remember why we are who we are, or what we even brought to the table. Right? We duck out right now, and we just go, well, we're done hosting stuff because, you know, Zach wants to go to school and focus on this stuff, and Chris wants to just, no one's going to sit there and go, man, what happened to Inconspicuous Gaming? They had, and this isn't me being selfish and a shot at the community. It's me knowing that we did not separate ourselves from other well well enough to say, hey, we provided a service that nobody else was capable of providing. That's why you came back to us, was because when you played here, you got this environment. And unfortunately, we don't have the ability to give a form of environment at this moment because we're working out of a restaurant. As for giving people this higher level of equipment, I'll put the community on blast right now. They didn't appreciate it at first. They didn't even know that it was that big of a deal until they start taking things seriously, when they realize, wow, there's a big difference here. But by that point, it didn't matter anymore. It was just, hey, we expect this now. And that's how things work, and I understand that. And that's my fault, and that's our fault for not showing them, hey, we exist. We did this to bring this. We went through different avenues. I had a large sum of money. Not large, I mean by large, I mean a tax return. So if you know a person who has no kids, a tax return isn't really that large. Yeah. And I had multiple ways I could use that money. And I went down the route to buy the one thing that I could not borrow, the one thing that I could not maintain consistency in, and that was good quality monitors for all use.
Yeah.
And that was the channel, that was something we did. And we haven't made it clear that, hey, these specs on these monitors are a big deal because it's important for you to get the best experience you want. But when you're talking to what may be casual people about the best experience, you don't notice it until you get off your couch, you know, until you get away from your TV, which might have lag on it, or you get away, you don't notice it. And so if you don't notice and you're not striving for that, you may not have the same level of respect for it that somebody like I do.